chasing this life as big as I can. But I will say that I don't mind looking at this footage every now and then, because it doesn't matter how old I get, I will never look that bad again. So that's a good thing. You know, I've retired from swimming now, but I still want to be that person. And that story is an epic story. It's a 35-year quest of a dream, refusing to give up. I always want to be that person, no matter what I'm doing, day to day. And so the precepts of chasing that big dream are still part of my being, always will be to the day I die. And the first precept is to chase a big dream. Don't set a mediocre bar, just like you guys are using that word unstoppable. Well, unstoppable must refer to something big. You don't need to be unstoppable for a mediocre dream, do you? So when you set your sights high, you discover who you are. You reach down for every drop of your potential. I don't know if you know the American poet Robert Browning, but he has a phrase that says, a man's reach should exceed his grasp, or what's a heaven for? The second thing I want to always remember is, and to quote another English poet, no man is an island. We all need our family, our colleagues, our friends. We never do anything alone, so what could be more lonely, right? What could be more of a solitary endeavor than swimming across an ocean for 53 non-stop hours? What about the other times, the failures? You know, there's 51 hours this time. Mother Nature, too big. Mother Nature on steroids doesn't allow us to make the crossing. What about the 48 hours on this one, and we didn't make it across? What about all the training? Isn't preparation and training what all of success is about? So every day, swimming 12 hours one day, you're so tired that night, you're sleeping in a fetal position on the shower floor. You're so beat you can't even get up to eat dinner. But you do get up the next morning and you swim 14 hours. And all those hours, I'm alone. There's only one set of arms coming up, the left one and the right one. But right over here, right to my left, is my team. And never, ever, ever would I have reached that other shore without my team. And I want to always remember that. I can't do anything by myself. And the third thing is, the very first words I spoke on that beach, when finally after 35 years of trying this thing that the best swimmers in the world have been trying since 1950, nobody ever made it across. The first words I said were to that crowd screaming on the beach, tears in their eyes because they wanted to be inspired for their own lives. I said, we, all of us, should never, ever give up. When you read about the successful people in life, whether they're doctors or engineers or astronauts or athletes, musicians, they will tell you that, of course, you need talent, you need abilities, you need skills. Of course, you need that team, you know, that's in it with you. Of course, you need a little bit of good luck. You need some timing so that your event and your endeavors are going to come in conjunction with what's happening in the world. But more than anything, success is based on a refusal to quit, to be unstoppable. Before, I want to get started with sort of my whole life story. Yeah, you're going to have to sit there and listen to my whole life story. But first, I'm going to ask you a favor, because how often does it happen that your birthday arrives on the day when you're standing in front of 6,000 wonderful, successful people? Happy
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Diana. Happy birthday to you.
Okay, that's unique. Thank you so very much. And by the way, I am 76 years old today. How did that happen? And still refusing to give up. So, now that we're on the singing motif, I want to start you my story by playing you my song. And you'll understand, I think all around the world, people know what this song means. Get up! Get up! Yeah! Don't sleep in! Get up with the dawn! Don't miss your life! And I was lucky because this ethic came into my life. You can sit down, thank you. This ethic came into my life when I was very young. I had a Greek father who was dramatic. No, dramatic's not the right word. Aristotle Zenith Nyad embraced a large gusto of vision every day. Every day was a climax of living life large for Aristotle Zenith Nyad. He was more than dramatic, he was histrionic. So us kids, let's say we're sleeping, we have school in the morning, it's 3 a.m. He wakes us up with that thick accent of his, the buzzing Z's, the rolling R's. He says, kids, tears standing in his eyes, I have just been to the ocean. It is a Rembrandt painting. It will change your lives. Hurry up. We must to go see it. I said, Dad, we have school in a few hours. We have to sleep. I am your father, no? I am here to teach you the lessons of life, no? Number one lesson of life, the most important lesson of all, sleep is highly overrated. Get up. 20 minutes later, the whole family is walking on the ocean's edge. The amber light from our ankles out to forever. It was a Rembrandt painting. It changed our lives. Well, on my 5th birthday, my father called me into the den. Over here on the desk, he had opened Webster's big, fat, unabridged dictionary. His hands were resting on the pages. Again, tears in the eyes. And he said to me, darling, you are coming here. I have been waiting for this day, for you to turn 5. Because, darling, today, I'm going to tell you the most important thing I will ever tell you. Come here, darling. Your name, my name, the name of my Greek people, it is here. It is in the bold black and white, the important book, the dictionary. Darling, you will go to your friends tomorrow at your little preschool. You will ask them, is your name in the dictionary? They will tell you no. You are the only one. Come here, darling. I'm going to read for you. Nyad. In Greek mythology, my people, the nymphs that swam in the lake, river, ocean, and fountain to protect for the gods. Definition number 2, this is the modern definition for you, darling. Nyad, girl or woman, champion, swimmer. Oh my God, this is your destiny, darling. I didn't know what destiny was. I was only 5. It wasn't too long after that, elementary school, I had a geography teacher who was an ex-Olympic swimmer. And he said that any kid who came out for the swim team would get an A in geography. And I learned a lot of athletes start their careers this way. I was at the pool the next day. I was swimming up and down with all the kids. He wanted to see what he had. And he stood in this lane over here. And I stopped after about 15 minutes and he yelled down, "Hey kid, you! Yeah, you! What's your name again?" I yelled up, "Nyad." He said, "Nyad? You're going to be the best swimmer in the world."
Wow.
If you want to work that hard. Well, it turns out I did want to work that hard. I started getting up at 4:30 in the morning, every morning, 365 days a year. I started doing 1,000 sit-ups every night, elbow to knee, every one. And at age 9, I was the best swimmer of my age group in the state of Florida. And at age 9, the Cuban Revolution broke. Overnight, in 24 hours, in my town, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, thousands of Cubans flooded in, and all of a sudden, we're eating Cuban food, we're dancing the salsa in their living rooms, we're flying the Cuban flag. We had a mystique about this suddenly forbidden island right off our coast. And at the age of 9, I stood on the beach there with my mother, who was French, and spoke in a thicker accent than my father. So as you understand, my childhood at home was very entertaining. And I said to Mom, I know Cuba's out there somewhere, but I can't see it. I thought it was so close. Where is it? She said, well, it's just this way. No, it's more this way. It's just across the horizon here. As a matter of fact, it's so close. You little swimmer, you could almost swim there. I said, what? Swim there? But I'll tell you, that phrase, that day, age 9, got lodged in the back of my imagination. Age 12, my father calls me back into that same den where the dictionary was. Now he's agitated. He's walking around with his hands behind his back. The veins are sticking up in his neck. I said, Dad, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with me? I never should have showed you this dictionary. Now you are fanatic. This is every day, Christmas Day included. We don't know where you are now eating dinner. You are some crazy place called the training table. We don't know to tell our friends where you are. You are not knowing your brother and sister anymore, huh? You are not going to church on Sunday anymore, huh? Darling, your hair, it is green. I said, that's right, Dad, my hair is green. And you know what, Dad? One day, I'm gonna stand on the podium at the Olympic Games. I'm gonna bow my head for a medal for the United States of America. You know why, Dad? Because I'm a fanatic. That's how people get ahead in life. They're unstoppable. They're fanatics. He said, listen, yeah. He said, listen, your mother and I, we are talking. We wish you all the luck in the world. We really do. We admire you. But our family is too extreme for us. This now is the key to the house for you. I didn't know as a teenager that my talent was not going to be as a sprinter. My talent was going to be swimming over the curvature of the earth with a steel trap mind. And finally, the night came, the Olympic Games tryouts. The tryouts for the tryouts of the Olympic Games, actually. And I have one more 100-meter backstroke. This is the night that I'm either going on to the Great Olympic Trials or I'm going on to the rest of my life. After 8 years, 4:30 in the morning, 1,000 sit-ups every night. I'm walking down that pool deck with the weight of the world on my shoulders. I had sacrificed so much. My brother and sister gave up their dreams because mine were so big. My mother sacrificed financially to let me travel all over the United States to compete in important meets. And a friend came. She saw that I was in a daze. She shook me and said, what are you thinking about? This is the most important race of your career. Okay, your chances are slim, maybe slim to none, but still, don't you want to leave this race knowing that you gave it everything? That you will have no regrets? I tell you what, why don't you get up there And why don't you blast off those blocks with the shoulders you've built for 8 years? With the heart that's driven you to do those 1,000 sit-ups every night. None of the rest of us did that. And when you touch that wall, don't look around. Don't look at the scoreboard as to where you finished. I want you to close your eyes, close your fists, and say, and mean, I couldn't have done it a fingernail faster. You do it that way, trust me, you'll have no regrets. So now I had a vision. Don't leave this much effort in that pool, and I blasted off with my shoulders and my heart. And when I finished, I had no idea how I did. I closed my eyes, I closed my fists, I said it, I meant it. I couldn't have done it a fingernail faster. I didn't make it. I walked over and congratulated the 2 girls who were moving on to the trials. And I walked across the pool deck for the last time that night. Moving on to the rest of my life, I put my heavy swim bag down. I looked up at the stars. They were bright, just like this. And I said to myself these very words: no matter where you go, no matter what you do, for the rest of your life, you live every day so you can't live it a fingernail better. You'll have no regrets. So, maybe my father was right. It's extreme. But in my 20s, which were the 1970s, I became one of the best open water swimmers in the world. And how much open water is there? The Earth, we call it a blue planet. So swimmers, and today they're extraordinary what they achieve, from the English Channel to Catalina Island to the Sea of Japan to the swims off Australia. People are swimming in open water all the time, and I did many of those swims and held records for both men and women, going around Manhattan Island, going across from the Isle of Capri to Naples in Italy, etc., etc. And all those swims I have a huge respect for, but they're in this bucket over here. And then Cuba, I told you, since 1950, the best in the world trying, it's in a different category over here. There are so many Mother Nature obstacles going on out there between that Cuba shore and that Florida shore that the chances are extremely narrow for any swimmer, any young, stronger, to make it across, and many have tried. So picture, if you're looking at the map where you are here, and Havana, Cuba, is down here. Now you're trying to swim 110 miles due north to Key West, Florida up here. It's a very unforgiving landing point. You miss it by a little ways out here, you're in the Gulf of Mexico. You miss it a little ways out here, and you're in the morass of the big Atlantic Ocean. You must reach land. You can't just go to latitude something, longitude something. And now, here's the conundrum. Here, squeezing through the Yucatan Channel is the emanation of the most powerful current on Mother Earth, the mighty Gulf Stream. And as it comes squeezing through that channel between Cuba and Mexico, it is coming here between Cuba and Florida, 85 miles wide, and it's coming at 6.6 miles an hour, heading due east. So figure out the math. The swimmer is trying to go north at 2.2 miles an hour. The stream is going 6.6, so it's tugging you and tugging you. And that team, that brilliant mathematician, navigator of mine, John Bartlett, on that boat, every 15 minutes he's setting a new course, trying to get me to go against the stream here, north against the stream here, due west against the stream here, and anytime I have to stop. I'm not allowed to touch the boat. I'm not allowed to get out on the boat, but if the boat is this table here, I'm allowed to get very close, and Bonnie, my head handler, I'm allowed to tread water as she gives me, nutrition, and the team tells me things about shark sightings. Have I mentioned the sharks at all yet? Because this is important, but they are a protagonist of this story. These are the dangerous sharks of the tropics. These are the oceanic whitetips, the lemons, the tigers, 50, 60 miles offshore, an animal may not have eaten for a week. And when a swimmer, innocent, comes by with a little low-frequency vibration on the surface, from 2.2 miles away, their sonar senses dying, wounded fish, and they are under you in a hurry. And I love when the shark experts tell you that they're very intelligent animals. They do not want to eat Homo sapiens. We are not their food. So they say they won't come up and eat you whole. They won't just take you. Now, if they're hungry enough, yes, they might come up and take a leg. And I said, take a leg? This is a very serious consequence. So anytime I'm stopping for 2 minutes just to take that feeding to get down, or I'm being versed by the crew that there is a shark being spotted and I've got to stay over close to the boat with the legs up for a while. Now, during that stop, I'm not even powering north. I'm getting dragged with the current, east, east, east. And pretty soon, I'm out here, and that 110 miles that was here, out here is 130. And out here is 160, and the whole thing becomes untenable. The box jellyfish emits the most potent venom on planet Earth. There's no animal, no snake, no spider that can kill as rapidly with venom as the box jellyfish. I would rather see a 16-foot shark and have a chance to maybe take a knuckle and punch him in the nose than see a 1-inch square little box jellyfish. That tentacle has hundreds of harpoons, and when it whips across the skin, it injects its poison into your system. It paralyzes your spinal cord. Instantly, within 1/10 of a second, you feel like you're on fire, and I should have died that night, 2011. Tentacles wrapped around the neck, around the biceps, down, all across the back, and somehow I made it through. The medical team on board put oxygen masks on my face, and I continued swimming, but now slow and wounded, and I'm not making progress. I'm getting dragged to the east as I'm trying to swim north. I have a high regard for all of our planet's great adventurers. The people who snowshoe across Antarctica, the people who run across the Kalahari Desert, and maybe especially for me, and you may be the same, maybe you're some climbers out there, but the alpine climbers who climb Everest and K2 and Annapurna. I wonder what it's like at the very top of the world. Well, Ed Viestures is a friend of mine. He's climbed Mount Everest more than any human being without bottled oxygen the pure way. And Ed says when he's above 26,000 feet, if he takes a step of just a couple of inches like this, the duress on his pulmonary system is so egregious, he has to stand there and take at least 25 profound, slow breaths before he has the composure to take a step of another couple of inches. Well, like I say, I don't know what it's like at the top of the world and oxygen deprivation, but for me, it's something called sensory deprivation. Picture that I'm swimming and breathing 53 times a minute this way. I don't see sharks. I don't see the beautiful pod of 50 dolphins that might be swimming around us. I see Bonnie on the boat. All 53 breaths, all 53 hours, and very quickly, even in a training swim of, let's say, 10 hours, you are now lulled into a state of not able to think concrete thoughts anymore. You are having your childhood wafted off your brain. You're thinking of what you read Stephen Hawking say about the majesty of the universe the night before. And so to keep my mind together, to be able to stay in it and not drift so far away that you forget what you're doing, and keep your strength together to power across that Gulf Stream current, I developed a system of counting, different logarithms of languages, especially my parents' languages, and I developed a series of songs. You're not allowed headphones, against the rules of the sport. Your mind has to be as disciplined as your body. So I'm just singing these songs to myself and to pass the time and to keep myself in the present and remember what I'm doing. So I would take a song. Maybe you know, for instance, Janis Joplin's version of Me and Bobby McGee. Do you know that song? Come on. Anybody know that song? So anyway, it goes like this. I'm out there and I go over to Bonnie and I say, Bonnie, I'm gonna be busy. It's gonna take me about 9 hours. I'm gonna be singing 1,000 versions of Me and Bobby McGee in a row. I'm not gonna lose count. I'm not gonna miss one word of the songs. And it's magical out there. It's nighttime. There might be a moonlight. It might be pitch black, but I decide, let's go. I'm gonna start with 1,000 now, just to get through this night. And I'm singing to myself, busted flat in Baton Rouge, waiting for a train. The feeling about as faded as my dream. All the way in the end, just like Janis Joplin, la 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 la, la 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 la, hey, 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 Bobby McGee. I'm going for 1,766. Busted flat in Baton Rouge. And when I get to 1,000 Me and Bobby McGee's, I'm at 9 hours and 45 minutes. So I'm 28 years old. 1978. We're ready. The team's ready. We've done all the research on the stream, on the type of foods to eat, on keeping myself together and my will together. My team is over here, brilliant and as dedicated as I am. Not one of them ever paid a cent. They're in it for grand friendship and grand adventure and maybe making history. We marched down to the beach, and another facet of this swim is the weather is one of the most difficult to predict in this particular geography, because from all different directions, from over here, north of South America, comes sweeping winds and currents that affect this area. From down below, the Dominican Republic also coming up can disturb, the Gulf Stream current and a swimmer. From way out here in the Atlantic Ocean, you've got the Atlantic gyre, and it's a pressure system, and it can change in 2 hours. And if the forecast was great, and that sitting way up north, not affecting you, in 2 hours later, it could come down to a latitude very low, and now it's affecting this current tremendously. And sure enough, 1978, we had the bad luck. We got the weather calm. We started off in a beautifully calm sea. 8 hours later, we were in an 8-foot wave. An 8-foot wave is breaking above these blue lights here. And now, I can't see the boat. That's my navigation. If I can't see the boat, I don't know where I'm going. The shark divers can't see fins underwater or above water. It becomes very dangerous. The storms don't stop for the entire 42 hours, and we have to have that conversation, my team and I, while I tread water and decide that Mother Nature is not going to let us across. Just like when you're on Everest. If a 90-mile-an-hour wind comes in, you don't say, well, this is mind over matter. I'm going to go against it and I'm going to get to the top. No, you're going to get blown off the mountain. You turn around, you go down, and you say, this is not our day. We come back another day. 1979, we come back. And imagine the training, another full year of 12-hour, 14-hour swims, etc. We come back, and now we can't get a break. The Gulf Stream is flowing hard, and the trade winds coming across the Atlantic are coming across against the Gulf Stream like this, making high peaks out there every day for the summer. Summer is the season you want to do this, when the waters are warm enough for your body to withstand losing all that weight, losing all those calories. And our navigator brings us down to the dock one day, and he says, everybody, tell me what you sense. What are you feeling like in your tongues and your mouths? And we all say, well, it's salty. It's the salt vapor of the breeze. And he said, no, it's not. Here in Key West and over in Havana, this is what they call the Havana dust, the African dust. This is sand particles of the Sahara Desert that have blown 6,000 miles across the ocean and are now coming through this waters. We didn't get to try that year. The next year, we can't get visas. We can't get into Cuba. No American can enter Cuba, and this is my dream since age 9. I've already swum all over the world. All I care about anymore is this swim, Cuba. And people on my team at the end of practice sessions raise their hands and say, you know, Diana, have you seen Guam this time of year? It's just beautiful. It's calm. The waters are warm. I say, Guam? Cuba is in my soul, not Guam. So we didn't get to go. Now I'm 30 years old. I'm getting offers from many different television sources and news sources to come work, to make a living. And I left my beautiful Cuba dream behind. And over the next few years, I shouldn't care. I should root other people on. But over the next few years, as I watched swimmers try to make it across, I was never wishing anybody harm, never wishing anybody a shark or a box jellyfish tragedy. But I will admit, when they wouldn't make it, I'd do a little happy dance. Oh, the dream, it somehow is still alive out there. And coming up to the age of 60, that was August 2009, my mom died. And I started thinking, I've been fit and healthy my whole life. Surely I'll live longer than my mom, age 82. But what if it's just genetics? What if I'm going to die in a scant 22 years? Am I doing everything I want to do? And then I went searching around my office for a poem I had read once. I don't know about you all, but I personally don't understand poetry. Every poem I've ever read, when I get to the end of it, I say, why? Like, maybe if they used a few more verbs, you know, I could understand this poem, but this was a poem by a woman named Mary Oliver. It's called The Summer Day. And that August 2009, I must have cited the last 2 lines of that poem 1,000 times. And you maybe know that poem, but those last 2 lines go like this. Tell me, what is it you plan to do with this one wild and precious life of yours? I was in my car. I think it was the 1,000th time. I screeched over to the side of the road. I looked in the rearview mirror. I thought, wow, I've stayed in shape, cycling, running, weightlifting, but I haven't been a swimmer for 30 years. Would the shoulders come back? Would the will fire up to what it was before? But I said that day, that's what I'm doing. With the rest of this one wild and precious life of mine, I'm going after that big Cuba swim dream. That was the one that was going to make me have to drill down to the physical, to the emotional, to the psychological edge of everything I could be, and my team the same way. And we started training for it, started researching it. A lot's changed in the world of sports in 30 years. And now, at the age of 60, an advanced age of 60 for the world of sports, we tried it, and we failed. Mother Nature again, storms raged, even though they weren't predicted. The next year, we try again. The box jellyfish time. I did survive the stings somehow, but now I was weak and I wasn't making progress and getting dragged off course. And now we fail a 4th time. 51 hours. Shark scares, jellyfish stings, and again storms that take us off course. And I want to go a 5th time. Because none of those were me giving up. There was never me saying, I want to get out, I quit. I bit off more than I can chew. And not one person on the team wanted to leave this endeavor either. They were in it, committed, just like me. So we trained for a 5th time. I got letters from a lot of people that helped us. Dr. Timothy Noakes, arguably the top sports science in terms of nutrition in the world, University of South Africa. He had helped Bonnie so much in the nutrition. I was having trouble, you know, when you try to digest in the supine position this way, a lot of what you take down goes into empty spaces. People who have to lie in hospital beds and take their nutrition lying down don't get the value of all that. So I wasn't getting all the nutrition, the goos and the gels that were developed by NASA They weren't getting into my system so that I could use them for muscular contraction. And Timothy Noakes told Bonnie to make a little bowl of cooked pasta, cold cooked pasta. And when I came to the side of the boat, before giving me the goos and the gels of proteins and sugars, that she should take a handful of rigatoni pasta, feed me this way. You know, Bonnie always says if we don't make it, there's always a job for us at SeaWorld. So Bonnie would give me the pasta this way and then take the goos and gels, and it worked. I got much more energy from doing it that way with the combination. And Tim Noakes now writes me a Dear John letter. And he says, look, we've been so happy to be part of your team. We followed you with great admiration. And I'm sending you all the empirical notes and equations today that will show you why nobody of any age, any gender, is ever going to make this crossing. You will run out of glycogen. You'll be in glycogen deprivation over these long 2 to 3 days of nonstop swimming before you can make it to the other shore. And they all dropped out. There was the New York Times, there was CNN, all the media outlets wished me luck and said they would be there on the other shore if I ever made it, but they were out of resources and out of belief that this would ever happen. But not our team. We're still ready to go. We get the weather call. The whole team, we're in Key West. We're leaving for Havana at dawn. I'm excited. I'm trained up. I feel like I could walk through a brick wall. And on the other hand, I'm scared. Will this be a time that a rogue shark comes up and does get me? Will I get stung by those box jellyfish again? You don't get immunized with every sting. You get sensitized. If I have another sting like that, I will die. And more than anything, I tell you, it was I was worried I'd lose my team. How long can they stick with this dream of mine? It's not their dream. They're giving up time from their families, from their businesses. Will they come back a sixth time if we don't make it again? And I can't sleep. I go walking the streets of Key West, and I go into an all-night drugstore, and there's only one other consumer in there, and it turns out he's Cuban, and he knows my story, but I asked him his story. You know, they call these waters I swam over the Cuban graveyard. We will never know how many thousands of Cubans have left their country in the middle of the night on half-inflated rafts with no chance at all to make it across to freedom in the United States. And this young man told me, he was in his 20s now, that when he was 7, it was their night, his family was going to try to get out. They came down, it was a windy night, and he saw this punctured raft that he said he wasn't going to make it past the breakwater on this windy night. He's afraid they're going to die. They've already lost family members and friends who didn't make it across. And his grandmother came down, he told me, and she pulled him off to the side. She said, "Mi querido, I'm not going. This is my country. I'm too old. But listen to me. An American once gave me this $2 bill. They say it means good luck over there. You're going to zip it in your jacket. It's going to help you make this terrifying crossing. It's going to help you make a new life in America, and mi querido, it's possible. No, it's probable that you and I, we're never going to see each other again. So this $2 bill is also to help you make a new life in America. And I tell you what, one day, you'll know the day, you'll meet someone who really needs some good luck, and you'll give them this $2 bill. And that night he gave me his grandmother's $2 bill.
เขา放在电话。
I carried it with me.
哦。
Yep. I carried it with me all the way across that ocean.
你知道我们这里有其实，大家看这个信仰。
It's the 5th time. Bonnie and I are standing on the shore of Havana. Our team is out there in the boats. I play reveille. I take the leap of faith, the real leap. That first day is glorious. I'm singing my songs. We're making progress. John Bartlett is coming out of the navigation cabin with his thumbs up all day. He loves the position of the Gulf Stream. He loves the low waves. He loves how strong I am. That night was hell on earth. I was wearing a silicone mask to protect my face, the lips and nostrils especially, from the jellyfish stings, but it had a very small mouth opening. It was difficult to swim with, but it was necessary. We could have never gone back to try again without that mask, but the wind came up. And every time I take a breath, I get slapped in the face with a wall of salt water. I was vomiting into the mask. They're not allowed to help you. I have to reach with my numb fingertips to find the edge of the mask, get it up, shake it out, get it back on, and continue. And I've lost a lot of weight that night because I couldn't, with this seasickness, I couldn't take in enough calories. The next day, we recuperate. Bonnie starts calling me over to the boat for quicker feedings more often. And that second night was more hellish than the first night if possible. Now I'm cold. While I'm actually swimming, I'm shivering this way. You start into, with the sleep deprivation and the sensory deprivation, you start into hallucinations. I got very engrossed over here with the Taj Mahal. It was floating in the ocean, and I never questioned why it was between Cuba and Florida, where instead of in India. And I was just amazed by it, and of course, while I'm amazed, I'm being dragged by that current. And Bonnie has learned that you get me out of a hallucination faster if you go along with it than talk me out of it. So she's over here yelling, "Look at those marble pillars. They are extraordinary." You know what? We're going to come back. We're going to visit the Taj Mahal for a whole week. But right now, Diana, come on, put your head down. You've got to swim. Come on, sing your songs. Count your numbers. And a couple hours later, I thought I saw the Cubans, the Cuban graveyard. I thought I saw them marching on the ocean floor. And of course, the ocean floor here is thousands of feet deep. Of course, I can't really see it, but I think I see it. And I yell up to Bonnie, "Look, it's the Cubans, it's the Cuban graveyard." And she looks over and she says, "Oh, I see them. I see them. They're little men marching with knapsacks on their shoulders. But you know the good thing about them, Diana? Those are not the Cubans. Those are the 7 dwarfs." And she said, "I tell you what, the great thing about them, they're going exactly where you're going. So just follow them for a while." I can't tell you how helpful they were. I started getting my stroke going with their strides, and I started singing with them because I breathe this way. I could hear them chatting and singing. Oh, and they were whistling. Hi-ho, hi-ho, it's off to work we go. Now I'm hanging on by a thread. I can't remember who I am. I can't remember why we're out here. I don't know why this kayak guy over here knows my name, even though I know him for a decade now. And Bonnie blows the whistle. It's the whistle for shark. I know it. It snaps me out of my reverie. I pull up my legs. I get over close to the boat, and Bonnie says, "This is important. There's no shark. This is important. Look that way. What do you see?" I said, "Come on, Bonnie. I'm blind. I can't see anything. It's black. It's a black ocean, a black sea. I don't see anything." She said, "It's crucial. Feather up. Tell me what you see. Come on, come on." I feathered up. Wait a second. I do see something. There's a sliver of light, like a filament, right here across the horizon line. Oh, it's the sunrise. It's the 3rd day. You know how we all feel when we see the sunrise. It gives us hope. And Bonnie isn't a crier, but she's starting to cry now. And she said, "It's better than the sun. Those are the lights of Key West. Come on, we're going to make it this time." Yeah. It turns out we had 15 more hours to swim, but we had done hundreds of 15-hour swims. And I'll tell you the truth right here today. When I flash back, this Labor Day, which is just a week away, will be the 12th anniversary of walking up, stumbling up onto that beach. But I don't flash back to that moment of triumph. What I flash back to is our team, staying believers. And all I leave you with, because I know you're successful and many of you are getting awards tonight, and the company in general is one of the best on the entire planet. I congratulate you for the hard work and the successful work you do. But all I can leave you with is what I said in the very beginning. I still want to be that person. I'm not going to swim across oceans anymore, but I want to go to bed every night of my life saying, let me look at that day. Let me look at what I did, what I thought, who I communicated with today. And I want to say, I couldn't have done that day a fingernail better. Thank you.